Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest album from Carnifex, World War X, out August 2nd on Nuclear Blast. The album has 9 tracks, 35 minutes in length, and this is the Deathcore's Juggernaut 7 full-length album. Now, this album absolutely knocked me on my ass. I wasn't ready for it. Even the singles that came out, even though they opened a window and gave me some glimpses of what this record was all about, they didn't really prepare me for what was in store. This is a very complex record, multifaceted, multi-layered album, and that's not something I was really expecting. I was really expecting something to be more compact, more linear, now with a lot of variations from track to track, and that's not what I got from this record. The layers are just built upon layers and upon layers. Very dynamic record. The first layer perhaps is the concept that it has. And now it doesn't have a full concept in terms of having one single story that's being told from the first to the last track, but there is an overall theme to the lyrics. So there's an overall concept that ties all the songs lyrically together. There's the same idea of how in war, in the battlefield, some of the things you go through and at that time ties into problems that you have on your day-to-day life and how you view those as your own battles, as your own war fields, as your own war zones. So that is really the common denominator that ties every single song together. The record is really built almost like a mini-series. It's really built like, let's say, Black Mirror, where you have this commonality, this common denominator throughout every single episode of the series, in this case, every single song, but with each single song being built completely different from the previous one, with a different structure, with a different sound, with a different approach. That's really the overall picture you're going to get from this record. Now, this album, I've said it before, it's multi-layered, multifaceted, and starting with the concept and then going on into things like, for example, the symphonic elements. I absolutely love that they incorporated symphonic elements into the record. Either be a keyboard melody, an amazing piano mid-piece and outro, incredible guitar solos, really well structured. The structure of the songs, the riffs, the way the riffs sound, some riffs almost sounding like a piano melody. So there is a little bit of everything. There's so many moving parts. There's so many moving pieces. Guest appearances, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Guest appearances that add really a lot of dynamic to those specific tracks. And then, to me, the main thing is when you listen to a track and you're listening to the lyrics, the way the song is structured, the way the sound is coming at you, the way the actual music is put together, the way the guitars sound, the way they interact with the drums and the bass, really brings the life of that song. It really brings that song to the forefront. It elevates the lyrics of the song. You almost feel like you're watching, like I said, a miniseries. It's very cinematic. This record overall, every single track, some more than others, have a very cinematic vibe, atmosphere to it. You really feel like you're watching an episode of a series, of a TV series. Now, I really like the symphonic elements. I'm going to go back to that. Not every song has them. They're sprinkled throughout the record, but man, they use them absolutely to perfection. They really use them to elevate the tracks, to elevate the atmosphere of the tracks, to elevate the mood of the tracks, and more important, to really elevate the lyrics of those songs. If the song had a really dark, ominous topic to it, the way the symphonic elements were incorporated in the track really elevated it, really gave it a completely different dynamic. And some tracks are almost hidden into the track just to really give an ambiance to the song. So I really want to emphasize that they were not overly used, but they were sporadically sprinkled like a fragrance throughout the record, and I absolutely love it. To me, it set the songs apart. It gave them a lot more energy, a lot more fluidity. Then the other element that I mentioned earlier, the guest appearances. Obviously, everybody knows about Alyssa White Gloves. She had a guest appearance in No Light Shall Save Us, but also Angel Vivaldi did a couple of solos in All Roads Lead to Hell. So that to me was another key factor, to have people like Alyssa White Gloves or Angel Vivaldi having guest appearances on this album add layers to the album because they have something different that they bring to the table. And in case of Angel Vivaldi, his solos are absolutely magnificent and just give the song this more than cinematic, operatic feel to the track. They just give the track this larger than life sound. So I really like the fact that they didn't use too many guest appearances, but the ones they used it to perfection. They really knew exactly where they want them and which tracks they want them to really elevate the sound, the feel, the overall atmosphere of that specific track by having these guys do some work on their songs. So overall, this is a very complete very robust, very incredible record. To me, there's perhaps only one record that I heard so far this year that is at par with it as far as the complexity and the layers, and that's Veleno from Flesh God Apocalypse. This one to me is almost at that same level, if not at that same level, as far as complexity, as far as dynamic, as far as layering to the tracks, as far as the whole dynamic that each song has in order to really enhance the lyrics and create lyrics music that tell a story. There are a mini movie. Every single song is a mini movie. Absolutely love this record. Now, as far as favorite songs are concerned, I picked 3 songs that offer something different. And I'm going to start off with the song that's my absolute favorite track on this record, and that is This Infernal Darkness. My God, this is to me my absolute hands down favorite song on the record. I love the melody that this song has mixed in with the aggression. This is a song that really has a verses pre-chorus chorus dynamic. The verses are very aggressive, very heavy, very methodic. And then in the pre-chorus and chorus, you have a lot more melody. You have an absolutely haunting guitar melody that just is the music equivalent of Symphony of Pain. It's absolutely, there's so much, it's the melody of that guitar is drenched in pain from the first to the last note. And I love that dynamic that it has between the verse and the chorus, because the chorus comes in a lot more relaxed, a lot more melodic, not as dynamic as you get from the verses of the song. So I really like the dynamic that it creates. Not only is that guitar melody and the chorus melodic, but it's also very haunting. It really adds, it almost has a symphonic feel to it. The actual guitar riff has a little bit of a symphonic vibe to it, and that adds to the haunting aspect that the track has. It really elevates it to that level. Now, towards the middle of the song, there is an incredible keyboard melody that comes in. The same melody that you're getting from the guitar in the verses, you're going to get it towards the midway point of the track, but this time from a keyboard, from a piano, almost feeling like a church piano, if you will. And it just comes in straight out, no guitars in the background, just the piano. Then everything gets incorporated. The chorus comes once again. Now you're getting that melody from the guitars, and then the song finishes off with that same piano. Absolutely incredible. That middle piece of that piano in the song really elevates the track. It really gives the symphonic element to the song, and it gives the song an overall cinematic vibe. It really ties in perfectly with the mood of the lyrics that song have. And I really like at the end, when the song is dying out, at the end there's a little piano, the same piano melody comes back at the end, and it doesn't finish. There's like a note missing, and the fact that there's a note missing at the end, it adds even more darkness. It just feels like an unfinished business. It gives so much darkness. It's so haunting the way this whole song is structured, with those piano pieces, and the way it ends with almost like a missing note at the end. Absolutely incredible. But hands down, one of the more complex songs on the record, and one of the better delivered songs on the record. I absolutely love this track. There's absolutely nothing wrong to point at it. It's just pure perfection from the beginning all the way to the end. Another song that I want to mention is Eyes of the Executioner, a song that's a lot heavier than This Infernal Darkness, has a lot more momentum. It feels a lot tighter, a lot darker, a lot more brutal. A song that throws everything at the listener, including the kitchen sink. It's just a song that has a lot of brutality to it. It has dynamic within that brutality in the way the vocals cooperate with the drums and guitars. I even love the way the bass comes across in this song. One of the songs where you really notice the bass a lot more. The bass is really noticeable, not just in the parts where it allows itself to peek its head through. There's a few moments of the song that the bass really comes to the forefront. It becomes one of the main players. But even when it's not in the forefront, even when it's in the background, you can still always hear the bass throughout the track. I really like that. It adds a sense of being a little bit more somber. It gives the song a little bit of darkness. So I really like that. But this is a song that, as it goes through, it's really built on jolts. You feel like there's momentums where the song changes its dynamic, and then you get a jolt of aggression, and then it moves into a more aggressive direction, then it changes again more to a more melodic direction, and then it gives you another jolt, and you go back into this aggression. It's a song that has such a live dynamic to it. It's just constantly moving in different directions. I love that. I also love the faint melody in the background. There's this beautiful melody that peeks its head, but it's very fainted in the background. You can barely notice. but it peeks its head every so often, and it just adds to that darkness, to that haunting aspect that this song really has from the beginning all the way to the end. Last but not least, Hail Hellfire. Perhaps one of the songs on this album that has one of the hookiest and catchiest chorus, and that's one of the things that attract me to this song. This is perhaps, of the three that I mentioned, the most brutal one, the most aggressive one, the more relentless of the three, if you will. The vocals on this song are absolutely on point. They add to that aggression. They add to that relentlessness. They just feel like the perfect partner to everything that is happening. They're just pretty much the catalyst that gets all the aggression going. But to me, the chorus is absolutely magnificent. That's what sold me on the song, was the chorus. I love how hooky the chorus is, how catchy it is. Really easy to remember, really plays back in your head. It just has a really nice punch, and it has a really nice feel to it. It's just a perfect, it really is the perfect chorus for a song that is this robust. I just feel that if it didn't have a chorus that has that sort of hookiness to it, the song would become extremely heavy and extremely hard to digest. So I really like what they did there. They kind of lightened the mood without making the song lighter, without making the song feel less heavy, if you will. They made the song feel that way by making the chorus a little bit more easier to remember, more mundane, more hooky, more catchy. So that's where they lighten up the mood of the song, because overall this is a very thick and robust, heavy track. Brutal. All right, guys, this is it. This is Carnifex, World War X. Absolutely incredible record. I mean, I didn't have these guys in mind for what I would consider one of my favorite records of the year, but after listening to this record, it's in it's in my top list right now of one of my favorite albums of the year so far. It really is. I have to move some other people out of the way because this album is quickly just moving itself all the way up to the top. Absolutely love the dynamic. I love the layers that it has. I love the structure. So well constructed, so well put together. Absolutely magnificent job by Carnifex on this record. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'm looking forward to reading what you have to say about this album, and I'll be getting back to you guys. Take care.